Hey, Sunday Crusaders. The thing we've most been looking forward to on the show today is to talk to our next guest, who I don't even know how to introduce him. 35 singles on the Billboard charts, 20 albums. Lee Greenwood. Mr. Greenwood, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Good morning.
Singer, songwriter, author, I don't know, all the things. And I'm grateful for this new product you have. It's a resource for homeschool families, but also just for everyone. So tell us what we have here first.
Well, the children's illustrated book is entitled Proud to Be an American. That's sort of like a co-title to the song that I wrote in 1983 called God Bless the USA. I thought it was important that because we taught our kids to read when they were like a year old. You hold a book in front of a child sitting on a rocking chair, and they're fascinated by pictures, but not just photographs. It's more about illustrations. For some reason, they're more captured by animation than they are real life at first. And it's fascinating for them because you teach them to read a word or two, and then they'll read the word or two back to you, and then eventually a sentence. But our kids were reading fluently before they were 3, just because we taught them every day. But the tools that we had, of course, were Goodnight Moon and, some of the really childlike things as a baby. But as we got a little bit more complicated, we realized we didn't really have a patriotic book that we could read to them. And, of course, what a great tool to have my own song put in lyric and then show them pictures of my upbringing and what I felt was important in life.
I'll be a testimony to the book. We've owned the book for about 3 years now. It's a fantastic book. But what you guys have here is more than even just that for parents and grandparents. What else do you guys have?
Well, of course, the tool itself, as I go through the story, and I'm going to produce a video here, probably like an evening read for like Dolly Parton has with her book, Imagination Library, in a way that I can actually talk through a blog or through a Facebook Live performance of reading the story. And with that in mind, each one of the lyrics applies to something that we're facing today. Any crisis, as a matter of fact. And you got to start realizing what's important all of a sudden. It's the country itself. It's the military that fight, for our freedom. And I've been on numerous USO tours and realized what that sacrifice is. And I know you know as well, Mike, that soldiers don't get a break. I mean, they're working on 24/7 every day that they're in uniform. And so that was important to put in the book as well. There's also a download at the back of the book. You can actually download the song once you have the possession of the book. I don't know if you did that or not, but you can play the song for the kid as well.
The book's called Proud to Be an American, Lee Greenwood, and the homeschool resource, you can go to excellenceineducation.com and search for it right there, and you get the whole set. Lee, if you don't mind, I want to talk about you growing up on a farm in Sacramento. I did not grow up on a farm, but I'm working through understanding the importance of getting your hands dirty, of living in the country, of growing up in that type of lifestyle. So if you don't mind, can you speak to that? What are some of the virtues and principles that you learned growing up on a farm?
Well, let me back up and listen. I'll tell you how I got there. And that is my father joined the Navy right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And my mother was stuck at home with 2 children. My sister's a little bit older than I am. She now lives in Idaho. And I live in Tennessee, so we're quite a ways apart, but we talk all the time. We talk about the past and the future. And when I remember very little about the early years between 1 and 6, I do remember being moved to the farm because my mother and father got divorced because of the war. And it's not uncommon that soldiers face that. My mother had 3 jobs. She was a comptometer operator for Standard Oil, a cleric for Southern Pacific, and played piano in nightclubs in the 40s when it wasn't even allowed for women to be in nightclubs. And so they kind of waived that rule because they really didn't have a man that could play that kind of piano. So yeah. I was benefited by that. So at the farm, we were sharecroppers. My grandparents, Thomas and Edna Jackson, took charge of my life and my sister's until she graduated high school, and I was left alone there for a while. Music came really easy, but also did baseball. And so I was pursuing both at the same time all the way through my teen years and working on the farm as well with my grandparents and understanding the values of working with the earth. Now, my grandparents worked very hard, but had very little to show for it because as a sharecropper, we didn't own any land. If you don't own land, eventually that's going to burn out. And so They had to change from what they did into building apartments by the time I was 13 or 14. I was working in nightclubs at that time, making my own money, buying my own clothes. And when I left home at 16, I graduated high school. I went straight to Nevada. But I took those roots with me, you know, and your neighbor is as important to you as your own family. And when they require you to come and help, you immediately jump to that cause. They come and help you. I remember sitting on the front porch, stringing beans, husking corn, you know, doing the things that that you do, working in the fields. I would follow the plow when my grandfather would plow the field and just kind of watch the ants and how they would kind of be disrupted by the ground. And I got really interested in growing plants and watering trees. We had all kinds of fruit trees and stuff that after I left home, I realized how expensive it was to buy those in a store. I'm like, wow, that stuff's expensive, you know?
Fighter Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.